Hey, Dr. Crane, what are your thoughts on third-party figures?
Call the police.
Classic Dr. Crane. Hey, Doctor, have I told you about my love for, well, you? And your villainous alter ego, the Scarecrow? What do you think about that?
Suffering delusional episodes.
Didn't have to be so blunt about it. Greetings, Gothamites, and welcome back to the channel. I am the Crowlector, and today I'm going to be channeling my inner Dr. Crane and doing a little reverse psychology. See, I'm one of those people where the moment that I finally break down and buy the old version of something, a new version will inevitably be announced within like a month. Now, a couple months back, Hot Toys started showing off a Scarecrow 2.0, and it has been radio silence since then. But, I mean, it's not like I'm checking all of their sites and social media pages every single day. So, since we know there's one coming, but we don't know when, I thought I'd make it seem like I don't care. Like, I'm too cool for this fancy new figure, even though I very much am not and very badly want it to come out. So please, join me for a little acting challenge, if you will. Oh, there's another one coming out? Didn't even know. Could have been walking right by. I wouldn't have even seen it. What is it? Some sort of like doll or something? A Barbie? Oh, yeah, that's cool, but I don't really play with toys anymore. I've got lots of friends. I'm super popular and stuff. Is it working yet? So, until we get more word on Crow 2.0, I thought I'd break out the old ones to take a look at. We have the Hot Toys Scarecrow, which was a con exclusive, I believe, back in 2013 for their 10th anniversary. This guy came in a 2-pack with Demon Batman, or Batman Demon, if you must. I don't have old DB, just Johnny here. I would love to get the Demon Batman, but he is a couple pretty pennies these days. I believe the set was limited to around 2,000 pieces or so there really aren't too many of them floating around out there. And then we also have the DafToys Scarecrow, or rather, his government name, Man of Straw. Being a third-party figure, he's had to go into witness protection and get a new name so no one would suspect anything. It's very effective. Starting with the packaging, we have the Hot Toys on the left there and the DafToys on the right. Both have that kind of reddish orange color to them, very much in line with Batman Begins marketing, which had that kind of sort of sunrise, sunset aesthetic to them. On Hot Toys, we have a nice kind of shadowy portrait of the figure there in the back, Scarecrow on the sides. As you can see, he's part of the Movie Masterpiece line and was MMS 140. And on the back, all of our talented crew who worked on this release. Bravo to you all. And then for the DafToys, we get a nice shot of Scarecrow's mask from the movie, along with the logos. Now, as you can see, it does say Scarecrow there, not Man of Straw, so y'all will have to promise not to tell anyone. Been let in on a little secret here. Nothing on the sides for this one, but on the back, another lovely movie still of his creepy, maggoty old mask. As you can see, mine did get in a little bit of a tussle with Batman, but I don't mind too much. Now, accessory-wise, these guys are both a little light, but the DafToys does win in this scenario. They are, for all intents and purposes, the same figure, the same body, same costume, same accessories. They both come with the suit and the straitjacket, 2 swappable hands, so 4 hands in total. We have two sort of relaxed hands, a more open, outstretched hand, and then a pointing hand or a shushing hand, probably depending on how you pose him. Could even be a little disco hand if you want to get fun with it. I think this is based off the scene of him on the horse when he's correcting Rachel.
Crane?
Scarecrow.
Oddly enough, no closed fists. That really seems to be like the go-to accessory for figures of all scales these days. A closed fist fighting hand, but not for old Johnny here. He's not really a fighter. That does mean you can't do the screen-accurate fear toxin spray effect, since he does that with his closed right hand.
Taste of your own medicine, Doctor.
Does anyone really care about that other than me? Probably not.
Nerd!
They also come with their bases. The Hot Toys one is more minimal. The Begins logo and nameplate and the crotch grabber there. DafToys did put a bit more into theirs with that cool Scarecrow promo art, the same one as on my shirt. They've added a cool little hand reaching out with a bit of a cloud effect. Got the nameplate on the front. I know some folks don't like the double nameplate, but I don't really mind it. 1/6 scale figures are obviously known for their outfits, and here it's not too bad. Now, in the promo images, the Hot Toys is shown as wearing a similar shirt and tie as the DafToys. I think the Hot Toys has a blue tie and white shirt versus the green striped shirt, sweater vest, and striped tie on this one. To be completely honest, I don't think either one is technically screen accurate. They seem to have combined his looks from Begins and The Dark Knight, especially on this guy here, for a bit of a mishmash. But I dig it. I think in The Dark Knight he had more of like a tannish shirt, and he was not wearing his little sweater vest. That was only in Begins. In all honesty, I am pretty terrible at taking off and removing the clothing on these types of figures. You heard me. So I generally just tend to leave them as is. Especially with something like this, where I do actually want the two different looks, it's not that big a deal. The straitjacket seems a little bit tight around his neck, and I really don't want to risk breaking anything by popping that head off or busting one of the buttons, even if it was designed to be removed. But in terms of the straitjacket, the Hot Toys version does have a bit more of a wash on it versus the DafToys, which is much cleaner. Looks like it just came out of the Arkham Dry Clean. But there's a lot of detail on this guy with all the different buckles and belts. Some nice frays alongside the edges there. He also has some cool little holes there on the back from where he probably busted out of his locks. It's a really nice straitjacket, which is a sentence I never thought I would say. This is definitely a Scarecrow who has been wallowing in Arkham for a little bit and is glad to be out, causing some trouble. Another big difference, though, is the shoes. The Hot Toys has plastic shoes with sculpted laces, which I really like, while the DafToys has pleather shoes with real laces. Obviously, as most of us know, pleather shoes are a big risk on figures because over time they start to flake. Now, I've had this guy for about 4 or 5 years now, and they're still holding up, though, so that's a good sign. Now, again, as embarrassing as it sounds, I've never been good with tying shoes on figures before. I can tie my own just fine, for the record, but something about how tiny it is, how thin the laces are, my brain just malfunctions for whatever reason. It does not send the right signals to my fingers, so he's going untied for now. But hey, it probably makes it easier for Batman to catch him, in all honesty, so you're welcome, Batman. They both came with the pant legs tucked into the shoes. I've left them tucked in on the Hot Toys just because I like that kind of combat boot look. And having them down on this one kind of adds to not only the professionalism of his look, but hides my inability to tie as well. The only real unique sculpting on this guy is the mask, and I don't know if you watched my review of the DC Multiverse Scarecrow, but if you did, you know I am very picky with my Begins mask. But I'm pleased to say that they did a really good job in capturing the likeness, and I mean, that's no surprise to us now. Hot Toys is known for their sculpts, even I'd say a decade ago, and they've only gotten better since then. There's lots of lovely little folds and frays and little holes to give it that nice burlap look and keep it from looking too potatoey, as can often happen with this Begins mask. Now, the DafToys uses the exact same mold for the regular mask. Every single little fray and fold and stitch is in the exact same spot, made the exact same way. They might just be painted a tiny bit different. They do, however, implement the noose a little bit differently. On both figures, it is a real noose with a thin little layer of wax to help it keep its shape. As you can see, the Hot Toys goes up and disappears into the mask, whereas Daft Toys goes all the way around the base of the neck. I don't really have a preferred version. I think they both look really nice. The paint is a little brighter and more vibrant on the Daft Toys. The straps in the back are lighter, his eyes are a little more blue and vibrant, but other than that, it is the exact same. But where Daft Toys gets the slight leg up is that he comes with an alternate mask, and this one is a unique sculpt, not a reuse. It's still quite similar, but there's some noticeable differences, most obviously the maggots, which seems to be the go-to mask for showing the fear toxin on this Begins version. McFarlane did it as well. I suppose it's easier to sculpt maggots than an entire bat coming out of his mouth, and maggots certainly are very creepy, so it doesn't bother me too much. They did paint them a lot better here than on the multiverse figure, which feels a little unfair. Obviously, it's easier to paint something that is bigger, but you can definitely tell that these are indeed maggots versus just a bad case of acne. The mask gets a nice dark wash as well for a more spooky, nightmarish look, but other than that, it's pretty similar, just a little softer with the details overall. It's a slightly thicker head. The eyes seem to be set back a little more. He has more of a waffle kind of look and feel to him overall than the burlap of the other one. The folds and wrinkles here are a little more raisin-esque than the true folds, and the straps in back here are a bit smoother. The bunching in the back of the mask as well isn't quite as detailed, but it still looks nice. All said, I mean, this is not a bad sculpt at all, and if this was what the original Hot Toys one looked like, I would still be quite pleased. The articulation is pretty good too, not up to today's standards with double joints or seamless joints, but you can still get some good posing out of him, although he is hindered slightly by the outfit, especially in the shoulder area. I will say the Daft Toys body feels a little heavier, and the joints are a little bit tighter, at least on the top of the figure. His ankles, however, are much, much looser, which could be because of those darn pleather shoes. The Hot Toys overall feels maybe a little bit more fragile, and the joints are a tiny bit more loose. I don't know if that's just on mine. I mean, it is, to be fair, a 12-year-old figure versus like a 4 or 5-year-old figure.
And I did get this one second hand, so he could have gone through the ringer before I got him. Just something to note if you do handle one. Take it easy. Now, this being the 20th anniversary of Batman Begins, it does look like Scarecrow is getting a little love. We have that figure coming from Remad. I believe it's more of a 1/8 style figure versus the 1/6 here, but I think it still looks pretty good. Something worth noting to be excited of is that it does come with our first unmasked head on a larger Begins figure. It's not a perfect likeness, but not bad. I've certainly seen worse. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it, and trust me, we will get to it. And what I have seen of the 2.0 looks absolutely beautiful. When compared to the 1.0, it really shows you how far Hot Toys has come, even in a decade. The mask sculpt this time around looks phenomenal, truly breathtaking. I mean, you can't see it, but I am practically salivating over here. I cannot wait to see this guy up close, see all those little details. I mean, it looks like it just stepped off the screen. And he also comes with accessories this time. It looks like he has at least one swappable head. I would imagine probably the one with maggots on it again, but I can't quite tell. It's either that or maybe a singed version from The Dark Knight with those taser marks. I would, of course, love to see a mask where the bat is coming out of his mouth, but I do realize that might be a little bit hard to pull off. And you can't really do the Falcone fear effect unless you just, shake it around in front of your face really quickly. He does have a cool gas cloud effect and some flying bats back there. I think those are reused from another Batman figure, but I'm not sure. I can also see the flashlight from the scene in the Narrows. Hopefully, he will come with his briefcase as well. That would be really cool. No straitjacket, oddly enough. I wonder if they're foregoing that this time. But can you imagine if they did like a super deluxe version with the straitjacket and a Hot Toys scale horse? Oh my god, that would be cuckoo bananas. He also has that lighter from the Narrow scene and his Arkham ID badge. And I'm trying hard not to get my hopes up just in case, but he does seem to come with an empty mask, which, in addition to the ID badge, would lead me to believe that we may also get an unmasked Cillian Murphy head sculpt. I think Hot Toys could absolutely nail a Cillian Murphy likeness, and if I had to guess, I'd say that is probably what's holding this back from being officially announced and unveiled. They might be waiting for approval from Killian's estate. Obviously, I want this guy, and I want this guy quick. I also want a figure that looks good. So if getting it right means a little extra time in the oven, I am all for it. Still, hopefully, we will see something soon, and maybe he can even release later in the year to help celebrate the 20th anniversary. I would love a Roz figure as well.
There you have it, guys. A close look at the Hot Toys and DafToys versions of Batman Begins Scarecrow. Let me know what you thought of it and of the look at the 2.0 we have coming up. What old version of a Hot Toys figure would you love to see a 2.0 version of? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're here, if you could, go ahead and like and subscribe. It would really help me out, guys. I would really appreciate it. But I will see you guys back here soon for more creepy Crowlection content. But in the meantime, stay spooky.